Hi, I'm Julie Byrd. We're going to be doing some yoga together today. Now, as we're working together, I want you to be feeling comfortable. And I know you're part of a program where you're already feeling some chronic discomforts. So as we're working out together, if you begin to feel an increase in your discomfort, I want you to stop, modify your actions, reduce the activity, or avoid it completely. Change your positions as you would need to stay comfortable. Let's think of discomfort as a door. You come right up to that door, but if you begin to feel that discomfort, I want you to stop. Don't go bursting through that door into the room of pain. All right, so we're going to stay very comfortable today as we work. And our first position is going to be seated in a chair. So if you haven't already come into a position at the chair, let's go ahead and start there. Okay, we're going to come into a seated position, sitting in the chair. Now, as you sit, sometimes you're going to find that you have a habit of sitting in a very relaxed position, and that's a problem for the structure of our body. It puts greater pressure on our body. So let's sit in a way that has a better posture. One of the things that we might do as we're comforting ourselves is cross the legs, put them in different positions, and this can be a problem. This can shorten certain muscles and create compensation. We want to get away from that habit. So let's take our feet and place them so that the feet are flat on the floor. Knees right in front of our hips. Now, if you need the back of the chair, by all means use it, but if not, sit forward so that you're using your core muscles even more. Sit so that your shoulders are right over your hips, the low back gently forward. And we're going to lift the rib cage up, let those shoulders come gently back and gently down, and tilt the chin so that it's level with the floor. Overall, there's a feeling like the body's pulling up toward the sky. We're going to keep the breath centered in our belly instead of that light breath we take up right in the collarbone. So breathe deep into the belly. You know, it's a lot to remember, and it's pretty simple, really. If you find yourself in a relaxed or slumped position, just lift the chest up, shoulders gently back and gently down, chin level, breath in the belly, and you'll be just right. All right, so we're already working, controlling that posture, got our core engaged. Let's start to work with the muscles in the front of the leg. We begin by lifting the front of one foot up, keeping the heel down. We let that foot come down, and then we'll lift the front of the other foot up and let that foot come down. We're going to go back and forth like that. Really simple, really easy action for us to create. But if you've been walking around a bit, you're going to find that you might feel a little bit of tightness in your calf muscle. So we're going to stretch those calves. Now here's the thing, we walk around all day long, and as we walk, we barely have to lift the front of our foot up because most of the time we're on this flat man-made surface. We would only be walking like this with our knee in this kind of a bend if we were hiking up a steep incline. So since we don't hike every day, we don't stretch these muscles in this way. And we're using one of the key principles of yoga. We're working one muscle to produce stretch in another muscle. So we're lengthening our calf muscles, the deep layer, with this action. And we're doing it a number of times because it's really light work. Great for the ankle, but also really good for the knee and even for the low back. Wonderful. Now let's create an action that's different. Let's push the front of the foot down. We're going to lift our knees up. All right, so it's the opposite of what we just did. Front of the foot goes down, knees will rise because we're lifting our heels upward. Now that's the action of those calf muscles. When we push the front of the foot down, the knees rise up. It's moving our hips. It has a direct effect in the back area. So if your back is really troubled right now, you may feel this in your back, but the good news is it's also a great way for us to warm ourselves up. If we're sitting for long periods of time, we can warm ourselves up and get out of the chair more easily. Now we're used to using these kind of actions, but the next one, a little different. Let's go ahead and bring our fists together and place those fists so they're in between the thighs. We just got a little light pressure there. We're going to work to lift the inner edges of our feet up, but we got to push the knees together to keep them touching the fists. Then we put that down. We lift the outer edge of the foot, but we've got to pull the knees apart to keep them pressing into the fist. So when I ask you to lift the inner edge of the foot, what your legs want to do is they want to do this. And when I ask you to lift the outer edge, what your legs want to do is they want to do this. And we've got to stop that action. So as you go to lift the inner edge of the foot, anticipate and push the knees lightly together. When you go to lift the outer edge of the foot, anticipate and pull the knees slightly apart. And we go back and forth with these actions. Eventually, your body will learn what it is you want. But when we start with anything, most people have a lot of trouble keeping their knees still in this. So there's our work. Now that's good. We're going to take the brain and go a little further down. We're going to start working with our toes. Let's lift those toes up off the floor. Let's place the palms together. Pull the fingers back away from the palm. We're stretching the bottom of the foot. We're stretching our hands. Now we're going to squeeze our toes down, try and wrinkle them into the floor. We're going to touch our fingers, not the normal way, to the top part. So we're cross-training because this is an unusual action. So we pull the toes up, pull the fingers back like we drop the thing that we're not using anymore. We squeeze the toes down. Instead of touching to the middle of the palm, we touch to the top of the palm. It's okay if it's tight. We're not going to let it get painful. So back and forth we go. When you put your feet into shoes, it's almost like you don't have toes anymore. They don't move around once they're in those shoes. We use our hands all day long, but we don't use them like this. So we're stretching, we're cross-training. Now let's try it this way. Let's spread those fingers and those toes wide open and then squeeze them together until they're narrow and tight. So we're going to go wide and we're going to go tight. But now look down at your toes. When you ask them to spread wide, do they spread wide or are they just lifting up? And when you ask them to squeeze together, do they squeeze together? They just pushing down because sometimes we don't get accurate action. It's going to take a bit of practice before your brain figures out what you mean by spread. The shoes keep the toes so contained, they don't know how to spread, and if they don't know how to spread, they don't know how to go together either. But that's okay, we'll get better as we practice. I'll try it this way. Push your big toe down, lift your small toes up and down, lift your outer three fingers up and down. Now, that might be difficult to do. You might have to do it one side and the other side instead of both sides at the same time. It may be hard to control those toes. You may have never known this about yourself. I mean, how many other people ask you to move your toes like this? We'll try it this way. Push your small toes down, lift only your big toe up and down. Lift your index finger up and down, either one at a time, both at the same time. Maybe you're better at this. Maybe not. Now the extra credit. Push your biggest toe down, your littlest toe down. Lift and lower your 3 center toes and your 2 center fingers. Now this one might take you a couple of times before you're perfect at it, but you're going to work at it. It's going to get easier in time. Maybe 1 foot at a time. But you know, a lot of new exercises like this, we try and do it at first, and we can't do it. But you know, the word yet belongs on that sentence. We can't yet do it. And not most people, when they sit down at a piano the first time, they're not playing a concerto yet. So we're going to have to practice a little bit before we get good at new things. But don't worry, you practice, you'll get better at this. Now that's great. Okay, we're ready to come into a standing position, so please stand up beside your chair. Okay, now we're in a standing position. You want to have your chair next to you in case you want to use it. But let's stand with a good posture. We're going to place our feet beneath our hips. Now, the hip is not the outer edge of the body. The hip is actually that center line coming down the center of our thighs. So we want to place our feet beneath the center of our thighs, having the hips back over the ankles. We're going to lift the back and the front of the chest up. Ease those shoulders gently back, bring them gently down. Bring that chin so it's level to the floor. And overall, there's a feeling like our body's pulling up toward the sky. Let's keep our breath focused in our belly. And as we lift ourselves up and stand in good posture and breathe, we're going to feel active. Legs, front of the leg active. Now, let's keep ourselves in the center position, but begin to create a movement lifting the front of 1 foot up. That's going to stretch that calf area. We bring that down, we're going to lift the front of the other foot up. And so we feel the stretch in the calf. But you know, let's not let the body twist or lean like it may want to. We're going to keep ourselves absolutely centered. That takes engagement of our core. So over and over again, uplifting, creating our action. That's good. Breathing deeply. It's what I do when I'm coming up the elevator, when I'm standing in line. I got something to do. Stretch those calf muscles. Keep good posture. Great. Now let's turn this into a challenge for our balance. So we'll bend the knees slightly, unlock them. Remember, your chair's right there in case you need it. Let your weight roll forward to your toes. Lift those heels up. Whoa, do it till you lose your balance a little bit. And then bring the weight onto those heels. Lift the front of the foot up and whoa, we're going to lose our balance even more. And it's okay, we might have to take a step forward or back in order to keep our balance. And that's all right, because what we're practicing is what to do when we lose our balance. So of course we've got to lose our balance first, right? So forward and back we go. And you know, when we get injured, we don't recover our balance as easily, because to recover the balance, you'll notice that your whole body has to work together. And it hurts when we're injured. So what we do when we're injured is we keep ourselves more quiet and less mobile. And that makes us weaker, so that when we do really lose our balance, we lose it worse. So we're practicing right now how to regain our balance. Good. But let's do it in the way that it happens really in life. Put one foot forward and the other like you took a step. We'll come forward on our toes, but we can't take the next step. What happens? Whoa, it's like we're surfing now. Back on heels, keep those knees a little bent back. Whoa! So we intend to lose our balance in order to learn what needs to happen to regain our balance. And I tell you, it's where the head goes. If the head can stay between the feet, we can recover our balance. But if we're in the habit of locking those legs, throwing that head forward, that's like throwing a bowling ball forward. We're going to travel that way. And when we're really walking, we've already got the momentum behind us, we're going to end up on the floor a lot faster. There's no time to think. If you're thinking about what you need to do to regain your balance, you're already on the floor. So we got to do this. We got to learn how. Hey, let's put the other foot forward, because you don't get to choose. And the things that upset our balance could be slight. Just a little crack in the sidewalk. Something you didn't see. The marble on the floor. Or the Lego if you got kids. Or for me, it's always the cats. The cats messing up my balance. But you know, you practice even a minute or two each day, this little action, and you're going to get a lot better. Great. Okay, good. Now bring the feet again so where they're hip distance wide. Let's work with some other actions. Let's lift the chest up and then turn the chest and the shoulders, but not the hips. The hips stay forward. Now, when you create this twist, remember, let's not create anything that's uncomfortable. But we're going to go comfortably far. If I go too far, my pelvis moves. But if I go just far enough, I can rotate my spine on itself. When the spinal structure are little inch-long pieces of bone known as vertebrae. And so we're turning the vertebrae one on the other. But now we're going to do it, and I'm going to use the chair to help me. Hand on the chair, hand on my chest. Lift the chest up, and now we pivot the pelvis back and forth. Okay? And that might be a little harder to do. We're not as used to moving the pelvis independently of the shoulders, but we'll get a lot better at it. Our mad dance skills are going to improve. Good. All right, great. But you know, both of those actions occur when we walk, or at least that's the pattern that should be there. Remember, when we learned to walk, we were only about this high. We were a year old. And we've come from walking from crawling, a cross-body movement. We're going to put that cross-body movement into our walk, or at least that's the way it should be, unless we get hurt. So we're going to exaggerate our walking pattern and make sure we know how to create it. You'll need a space to walk forward a few steps and back a few steps. Get the chair out of the way, make sure there's a space behind you that's clear. Get yourself ready, and we will go through this. Very simple pattern. Now first, you take one leg forward. It doesn't matter which leg you put forward. That's your front leg. Take your opposite hand across and touch your front leg. So if this is your right leg, your left hand's touching it. If this is your left leg, your right hand is touching it. And then step forward and twist across your body. Exaggerate it. Step forward. Oh no, we run out of room. We got to step backward. Don't run into anything. Step backward. I'm still touching the front leg. All I have to do is twist across and touch my front leg. Now, if your hand's back on your back leg, that's not your front leg. Touch your front leg. Touch your front leg. Where's your front leg? Where's your front leg? Okay, so I know this looks weird, and what I recommend you do is that you walk this way when you're going to the mall, because then you'll have all the space around you. People are going to scatter. But you know what you're doing? You're exercising your back. You're exaggerating the pattern. Now here's the truth of it. If you have trouble with this pattern, if you're always putting the hand in the wrong place at the wrong time, then what's happened is that somehow in your life you've lost the pattern and you need to recreate it. It doesn't come back again until we practice it. So if it's a little difficult for you, practice some more. By the way, when you're in the mall, look for people walking like this. You'll see them. They're lumbering forward. You'll see that all the time. Or you'll see this one. I see this in the post office. Little man, little lady. The leg is moving. Nothing else in their body's working. That's not the way we're supposed to walk. We're supposed to twist and turn our body. So we're exaggerating when we do the walk, but there should be a little bit of twist and turn in our body naturally. That's exercise. Every step we take is supposed to be exercise for our low back. So we need to bring it back to ourselves. Good job. All right, now we're going to need a little space in front of us and space out to the side, so make sure there's nobody near you that you'd hit too hard. Okay? So we'll stand. Oh, let's get that good posture again. Stand with your feet under your hips. Hips are back. Chest is up. Shoulders back and down. Chin is level. And when we breathe in, let's lift our arms slowly up. Only as high as feels comfortable. As we breathe out, we take those arms slowly out and down. And we're moving with the breath. The inhale, as the arms lift, you're going to feel it. It's not just the shoulders, is it? It's the neck and the upper back and the sides of the chest and the lower back. Only lift as high as you want. Exhaling, coming out and down. One of the things in yoga is we use our breathing and our movements together. Let's do it again. Inhaling and lifting up. Exhaling out and down. Oh, that's pretty good. But what happens when we change the pattern? Let's find out. Let's take the arms to one side. Inhale, lifting up that one side. Exhale, we'll come across and down the other side. Now we're going to do it again. Inhale and lift up. Exhale, across and down. Oh, let's go the other way. Inhale and lift. Exhale, across and down. And once again, breathing in and breathing out. That's good. Okay, keep your breathing, keep moving comfortably, but let's let those arms rise up, only as high as you want. One side, think of the rib cage. Lift the rib cage up, gently stretch the side. Inhaling, exhale and relax. The other side, lift the rib cage gently. Inhale, exhale and relax. First side again. Lift the rib cage. Now reach like there's something you really wanted high up on that shelf. Stretch comfortably high. Inhale, exhale, relax. We seldom reach up all the way. Lift the ribs, stretch up side two comfortably high. Inhaling, exhale. Oh, those arms are tired. Let's bring them down. Whew. Okay, let's take the feet a little wider now. We stand slightly wider, and we're going to press our feet outward. That's going to engage the outer hip, so we press like we're trying to tear the floor apart between our feet. Push your hands into the legs and tilt to one side slowly. If it's comfortable, take the other arm up, begin to lift. Upper side, reaching away from lower side, breathing deeply. And we're going to lift up to come out, okay? Feet pressing outward, push into the legs, tilt a little bit the other way. And if you can, take the arm up and lift. Upper side reaches away from lower side. We're breathing deeply. And we're going to reach up to come out. Okay, good. Let's press the feet out. Let's keep them pressing out. Push in the leg. Keep the feet pressing out as you tilt. Lift the arm up and stretch, but press the feet and breathe. And reach up to come out. Good. Press the feet out, push in the leg, tilt a little bit, take the arm up, stretch, press the feet out, breathe, and reach up will come out. Nicely done. Now for this next one, there's two different versions of it. In one, we stand with the feet separated and the knees bent. And the other, we have the feet separated, knees bent, and we're sitting in the chair. The seated in the chair position is better for those who have some tenderness in the back. I'm going to show the standing position, but you're welcome to sit. We crouch forward if we're standing with the hands on the knees separated and the arms straight. We're going to take one shoulder and bring it slowly across our body, gently stretching. Keep it comfortable. We'll come to center. We'll go across the other way, slowly stretching, gently. It's going to feel different one side versus the other. Breathing's a good idea. Let's come back to center. First side again. Reaching slowly and gently across. You're doing this standing or sitting, breathing deeply. We come to center, and then we go across slowly, gently stretch. That's great, and we come to center. Good, bend the knees to come up, and hey, let's all have a seat in the chair. Okay, we're sitting in the chair again. But, you know, it's almost like we've been thrown in the chair. Oh my gosh. All that stuff we did before, we're exhausted. But we can't sit like this. That's bad for our spine. Because this is the way I end up sitting when I'm typing for hours at the computer. But instead, though, we've got to sit with good posture. So yes, those feet need to be on the floor. Put the feet down on the floor, knees right in front of you. But the rest, remember, it's a simple action. We're just going to lift the chest up, shoulders back and down, chin level, breath in the belly. We find ourselves slumping. That's all we have to remember. Chest up, shoulders back and down, and chin level. Breathing deep. Good. Let's do some things for our shoulders now. First of all, as we're sitting with our good posture, let's roll those shoulders forward, lift them up, roll them back, and bring them down. Big circling movements. And you're going to notice the shoulder blades that you're moving are connected to other things. In the neck, near the collarbones, in the neck, in the back of the neck, the shoulder blade area, the sides of the chest, all the way into the lower back. Let's roll the other way. We're going to go forward and up, down and back, big circling movements. Oh, and it's noisy too. I'm noisier going one direction than the other. You might be the same. Okay. But that certainly is warming us up. Now that's the outside of the shoulder though. There's a lot of muscles that control shoulder movements. Let's get inside. Let's turn the shoulders in and then turn those shoulders out. Now this is working some of the muscles that attach deep inside the shoulder. The rotator cuff muscles, you've probably heard of them before. Now they do rotation, but their major job is to stabilize the shoulder. That means that any damage to the rotator cuff muscle affects the shoulder's stability. So that means any movement of the arm becomes a problem when we have rotator cuff issues. And you don't have to be diagnosed with a rotator cuff injury to have one. Okay, that's warmed us up. But now let's take it a little further. Let's add a little bit of weight to the rotator cuff actions. Remember, create no discomfort, but let's go ahead and bring the arms up. We're going to fold one arm in, chest up and shoulders down. We're slowly going to rotate our arm in to bring the wrist toward the forearm, and then we're going to bring the arm back up again and move it away from the forearm. Now you're going to notice there's definitely a little bit of action preferring the inward movement versus the action of the outward movement. When we rotate in, we get a good, 90 degrees or so. That's normal. We rotate out, we're doing good to get 30 degrees. And some people right now have 0 degrees of outward movement. It's okay if it's tight. Let's not make it painful. Okay, so we're working to create more than we have, and all the while we're working, we're noticing our arms are getting tired. Let's bring them down. Whew. All right, we'll do the other side. Chest up, shoulders down. We rotate slowly in. We take the arm up. We rotate out. So we're going back and forth slowly. Simple movement. This side is going to be different than the other side. And you know, even injuries we had way back in childhood are still going to affect us. So we got to recuperate a long time, most of our life, if we've ever had an injury. Don't be surprised if you've got a big difference one side versus the other if you've had an injury. Okay. Now that was still with the arms going forward. You know, we reach forward all the time. After all, the salad bar's out here. We've got to create a little bit of reverse of that action. We've got to cross-train by reversing the action. So, let's have our arms beside us, chest up and shoulders down. Now slowly start to pull the arms back. Now, the natural response would be for the body to bullet forward. Don't let that happen. Lift the chest, bring the chin level, pull back to gently stretch the shoulders. That's all you need. Oh, and are you breathing? Breathing into the belly. Oh, that's good. Now remember, you're the one in control of this stretch. Don't make it uncomfortable. We'll do it again. Chest up, shoulders down. Start to pull those arms back. Keep the chin level, the chest lifted. Breathe into the belly. Don't overarch the back either. Oh, comfortable stretch is all we're after. And there we go. Great. But now let's take the arms up. We don't always use them when they're down. Bring them up. Let the elbows bend, a little bit like bird wings there. Chest up, shoulders down. Start to pull the arms back. Lift the chest, lift the chin a little bit. Oh, it looks very dramatic. Are you breathing? Oh, you forgot to breathe. And then relax. Let's do it again. Arms come up, chest up, shoulders down. Start to pull the arms back, lift the chest, lift the chin. Oh, and let's remember to breathe this time. Breathing. Okay, like that. Well, that's pretty strong. So that's just that body used to doing one thing, not something else. All right, very good. Let's create a movement pattern that uses both the upper body and the spine. We're going to have one palm up and pull it back to our hip. We're going to take the other palm out and push it across our body slowly. When we turn our palms, we pull, we push. This actually comes from Tai Chi. It goes by the name of repulse monkey, so it's got a great name. And like many martial art positions, it's designed as a self-defense action. It's best just to try and create the movement without thinking about it too much. So we go back and forth. One elbow is straight and the other elbow is bent. One shoulder is forward and the other shoulder is pulled back. One palm is up, the other palm is out, and we keep twisting our spine and reaching across our midline. What it really means is that this is quite a complicated action for the body, and the left and the right side of the brain are doing different things at the same time. And the balance center of the brain is all awake as well. This is going to be a very mind-active pose, and it's going to positively affect our balance and coordination, and it looks cool too. So there we go. All sorts of things going for us. Oh, nicely done. Okay, now let's do a little bit of an action that's going to work into our lower back too. So please separate your feet a little wider apart. Okay? Lift the chest up and move your low back gently toward your navel. Lift the chest and the chin. Gently sway away from the back of the chair, breathing deeply. Keep comfortable. And then lift your chest, let your back sway gently toward the back of the chair again. Very gentle, nothing intense. And we'll do it again. Chest goes up, low back moves forward, chin lifting, gently stretching, breathing. And then lift the chest, let the back round, let the chin tuck. You know, they say that the position you like the best is the one that's best for you, and so stick with that one the most. Good. All right, but the normal position of the back is where the low back is toward the navel. So we want to maintain that elongated front of our spine as we're now going to learn to bend from the hips. So the chest is up, we bend forward a little bit. Now maybe you can only go a degree or two forward because that's all that your body's going to let you. And you know, this is good. This is good. If you're right here, this is good. But maybe your back, your hips are a little looser and you come down onto the forearm and keep the front of the body nice and long. And this is good, just as good as higher. Or maybe you can come down onto the elbows. Heck, maybe you can reach the floor. But I'm not going to hand you a ribbon. What we're trying to do is bend. So if you're here, okay. But if you're here, okay. Wherever you are, it's perfectly fine. Whatever the position of comfort, that's what we're seeking. And we're going to turn this into a twist. So let's put a hand to the knee. Begin to lift the shoulder, straighten the elbow, twist slowly and gently. You're in control of this. Make it pleasant and comfortable. Breathe deeply. And then we're going to come to center. It's hard to create a twist when we've had certain types of back injuries. Pull the chest forward, nice and long through the spine. Hand to the knee. Begin to straighten the elbow, lift the shoulder, twist slowly and gently. Breathing deeply. Comfortable stretch. And then we're going to come to center and pull forward. Now, first side again. Hand to the knee. Straightening the elbow, lifting the shoulder, twisting. This may become your most favorite stretch of all, but it might start out as a stretch you don't like. Go only as far as feels good. Keep breathing, and we'll come to center one more time, pull forward, and then we're going to lift the shoulder, twist slowly and gently, breathe deeply. And then we're going to come to center. Great job. And we're going to use our hands to bring ourselves back upright. Okay. Now we're going to come into position standing behind our chair to do a traditional pose known as triangle. So let's get out of the chair and stand behind the chair. Okay, so you've made your way onto your feet. You're standing behind your chair. But we're going to turn so that one side, it doesn't matter which side, but we're standing with our side to the chair. Let's make this our back leg. So the leg that is nearest the chair becomes the back leg. So the leg that is nearest the chair is the back leg. We stand with our feet hip distance wide. Feet flat on the floor. We're going to lift the chest up, tighten the thighs, and bend lightly and slightly forward, gentle. And then we're going to turn slowly toward the chair the amount we're comfortable with. It's a comfortable pose. It's known as triangle pose. It's known for being a good thing for the back. And then we're going to come up, turn forward, step out. Oh, let's do side two. So again, we turn. Our side is near the chair, and that becomes our back leg. So our back leg, look down at the floor, make your feet hip distance wide, get the feet flat, make sure that's your back leg. Thighs tight, nice long spine, bend at the hips slightly and lightly. Just a comfortable bend, turn slowly toward the chair. You know, it's gonna feel different on one side versus the other. Maybe because of the injury, but you know what? It's probably always been a little different, one side versus the other. Breathing would be a good idea. And we're going to come upright and step forward. Oh, let's do it again. Let's turn. The leg nearest the chair, we're going to make that our back leg. So that's the leg we step back, the one near the chair. Feet hip distance wide, feet flat. Nice long spine. We bend slightly, lightly forward, and we turn slowly toward the chair. Gentle twist, comfortable sensation, breathing deeply. Our triangle pose. Let's lift up, step forward. Okay, one more time on side two. We stand, and the leg that's nearest the chair becomes the back leg. Feet hip distance wide, thighs tight, long spine. We're going to bend slightly forward, and then we're going to turn toward the chair. Gentle twist, breathing deeply. Very nice. And we're going to come upright. Good. Okay. Now's the time we're going to be getting onto the tables or on the mats on the floor, which means we need to get rid of the chairs. It's probably already a lot of noise happening, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a chance, a little pause in the video to get yourself in position. Here's what you're going to need. Get those chairs to the wall. Stack them out of the way of the floor so there's plenty of room for everybody to set their mats out. You need your pillow, and you need a place you're going to be reclining on your side for the next action. So when I see you again, we're all going to be on our side, on the mats, on the table, on the floor, wherever. Okay, here we go. Okay, hopefully by now you're stationed on your mat, either on the tables or on the floor, and we're about to do some work for our hips. And it's really important that we get the hips to be an optimal hip, because hip problems create a lot of issues for us in our low back, our knees, and our ankles. So we're going to take care of those hips to take care of these problems. And I hope you've got your pillow ready for you in case you want to use it. And we're going to be on our side. It doesn't matter which side, but you can recline on your side, get that head comfy on your pillow. Oh, that's great. You know, I don't always use a pillow. I don't always have one available. But if you don't want to use the pillow, you can always prop your head up, which is what I typically do when I'm there in class with you, so I can spy on everybody. But hey, it turns out I can't actually see you through the camera. Ooh, too bad. And so instead, I'm going to use a pillow today. Oh, hey. So we get our head and our neck and our shoulders very comfortable. But here's the thing. I don't want to be leaning backward, and I don't want to be leaning forward either. I just want to have my shoulder over my shoulder, my hip over my hip. And to help that, I've got the legs forward, comfortably forward. Now, the lower leg stays bent, but we're going to make the upper leg go straight. I'm going to line it up with the spine. So the leg is straight in line with the spine. Reach through the leg, side of the waist nice and long, and we're going to take that leg slowly up to about the height of our shoulder, and then slowly all the way back down. Now we could lift it higher, but we're not going to because we just want to keep the action in the hip and we want to keep the side of the waist long. If you feel the side of the waist shortening, do your best to reach through. Maybe don't lift the leg up quite as high. And a lot of people ask me, should I be pointing my toe? Well, try it. If you point your toe, you're going to feel a certain sensation, and that's okay. But if you reach through the heel, you get the back of the leg a little more active, and that's okay too. But you could also do this with the foot just sort of hanging out limp, and that would be okay as well. So any of those positions, up and down, nice and slow. Excellent. And you feel the fatigue. Now, if the sensation is happening in the hip or down the leg or past the knee, good job. If you're feeling something that's climbing up into the waist or the low back, well, that's a little bit of a concern. Maybe you're lifting the leg too high, or maybe their pelvis is coming in too much. So try to work so that you're not feeling it in the waist or the back. Oh, but the fatigue is there. Okay, now we're going to take the leg and bring it forward. It's lined up with the lower leg, resting. And we're going to lean our shoulder back into a stretch. Now you can put your arm near your head, out to the side of the chest, or bring it close to the hip. All of that 180-degree space is yours to work through. Where does it feel the best? And then experiment. Do you like to straighten the elbow more, or would you prefer to bend it? Find out what feels better, what gives you the best stretch. You can pull your chest toward the floor to experience more stretch, or you can lift it toward the ceiling to experience less. Adjust so that it fits you perfectly. You're like the tailor of your stretch. You don't want it to be too tight, but you don't want it to be too loose. A stretch that's becoming more uncomfortable is a stretch that your body is fighting itself. You're not going to get as much out of that stretch. So make it comfortable, breathe deeply. That's well done. Let's come upright, shoulder over shoulder again. Hey, the leg's in the forward position. We're going to start to lift it up and down, and oh my gosh, what happened? The leg is heavier. It's actually been the same heaviness, but it feels heavier now because the abdominal and back muscles don't help us anymore. And the leg is heavy. We've got the biggest bone in the body, the femur bone right here. Biggest muscles in the body. So each one of our legs is approximately 1/4 of our body weight. So that hip is getting tired. And that's lactic acid building up. There's nothing wrong, but it is pretty annoying. Okay, good. Now, let's bend the knee. Knee over knee, ankle over ankle. For this, we're going to pull the belly firm and tight. Hold it firm and slowly take that knee, bring it a little bit toward the chest, and then slowly sweep that leg a little bit back. Belly firm and tight. Slowly back and forth toward the chest and back. Now, you're going to be using the muscles like you would if you're climbing a huge staircase. Back of the leg, the seat muscle working, the front of the hip flexors working, but you won't notice that. All you're going to be thinking about is the flames that are coming out of your hip right here. Lactic acid building up. Whoa, well, let's stop that. Knees together, ankles together. Okay, now, belly firm and tight, pelvis still. Let's rotate both our hips, and when we do, those feet come up a little bit. We're going to twirl our toes one way, twirl our toes the other way, let the legs come down. But here's the thing. We don't want to bring the pelvis forward. We keep it still. We rotate, and the upper leg rotates in, and the lower leg rotates out. And that's a great workout, a little bit of a tug-of-war effect for the back of the pelvis, the sacroiliac joint. It's a real nice way for us to balance the structure of our pelvis. And get a little fancy footwork going too. Good. Now the edges of the feet are touching, the belly's firm and tight. We're going to lift the upper knee away from the lower knee. It's called a clamshell. We'll let that come down. But we make sure the pelvis stays still. If it rolls backward, we're using our back. That's one of the problems. When back keeps substituting itself for the hip, we got to tough love this hip and make it do its work. So don't worry about how high your knee lifts up. Just worry about the way that you're lifting. You're keeping everything set. When you get stronger in the muscles that control this, your flexibility will increase. Well, that's well done. Now, knees together, belly tight, rotate just the upper hip. Only that foot's going to lift. And then we're going to twirl our toes one way, twirl the toes the other way, and bring the leg down. So we go back and forth to that. Now, not everyone's going to be able to rotate their hip inward very far. We're all genetically different. And you know, sometimes what we did in our early life, when we were a gymnast or a ballet dancer, we're going to have greater flexibility. But remember, it's what you do now, what you've been doing lately that has a lot to do with what's going on in your hips so you can improve. Oh, good job. Okay, take the leg forward now. Let it come into a stretch position. So it's out of the way of the lower leg, nicely stretched. Now your lower hip will rotate. Oh, we're going to twirl the toes one way, twirl it the other way, let it come down. And that's an outward hip rotation using those muscles that are found deep in the pelvis. And so if we've had any injury involving the pelvic structure, we may be a little compromised here, but you know what? A lot of us are pretty strong through this area, so you might not feel as much fatigue there. Now, let's straighten out that bottom leg, line it up with the spine, straighten the knee, and turn the inside of the thigh upward. And slowly we're going to lift that leg up, or at least do our best to, and let it come down. Now, working that inner thigh, sometimes at first we can't lift the leg, or we can't lift it very high. And that's okay. Don't create any discomfort. But as you get stronger, your inner thigh is going to strengthen, and your low back will get more support from that. But also, as the leg comes up, it's stretching the outside of the thigh, and that pulls on that tight band of tissue that goes all the way to the kneecap. So we're going to stretch and take pressure off that kneecap. Good for the knee. Oh, that's nicely done. Now we're halfway through what I call the hip tonic, working the hip muscles in every direction they can go. We're going to switch to side 2, but that means you're going to take your head and put it on the other end, because I don't want you facing a boring wall. So let's switch sides now. Okay, so now we're switched sides. We've got ourselves with the head on the other end of the mat. If you're facing a blank wall, can't see the screen, that's not going to help you as much. So turn so that you can see what's going on. Get that head, that neck, that shoulder comfortable, shoulder over shoulder, hip over hip, legs bent forward again. We're not leaning forward or back, comfortably on side 2. And the lower leg stays bent, that upper leg goes straight. And we stretch the side of the waist nice and long. And working very slowly, we bring the leg up to about the height of the shoulder, and we bring the leg all the way down onto the mat, and slowly up and down. Now, as we're creating the action, side 2 is different than side 1, and it always has been. It might be associated with the injury that you're experiencing, but you know what? We use our body differently. If we've got 2 of something, we use one more than the other. So we're right or left-handed, but we're also right or left leg. We use one leg more than the other naturally. Not always the right-handed person is a right leg person. So up and down, nice and slow we go. This side might fatigue out more quickly, and lactic acid, as I said, very annoying, but it's actually beneficial to us. Good. Let's take the leg now, and we're going to bring it forward. We're going to line it up with the lower leg, and we're going to go into our stretch. We're going to lean our shoulder gently back. Now you can have your arm near the head, out to the side, near the hip. Where do you want that arm to be? Comfortably positioned. If you want to straighten the elbow, your stretch gets stronger. If you want to bend the elbow, the stretch reduces. If you pull your chest back toward the floor more, your stretch increases. If you lift the chest up, it reduces. So find the position that's the most comfortable for you. Be the perfect tailor of your stretch, not too tight, not too loose, very gentle, breathing deeply. The best stretch is that which gradually reduces as you hold it. That's the perfect stretch. And that's well done. We're going to come upright, shoulder over shoulder, legs in that forward position, and we start to lift and lower it, and there's that heavy leg again. So I told you lactic acid beneficial. Well, why is that if it feels so strange and burning? Well, the reality is we create this sensation, we're stimulating the brain, and the part of the brain that releases growth hormone is going to be stimulated. So tonight when we sleep, we're going to get a little more release of growth hormone. And past the age when we're finished growing, growth hormone is used as a rejuvenative thing for the body. It's going to reduce inflammation. It's going to speed healing. It's going to help us get stronger. It's a positive thing, but oh, we're paying for it right now. Okay, let's bend the knee. Knee over knee, ankle over ankle. Pull the belly firm and tight. Now we want our back to stay still, and we're going to take our knee toward the chest. You decide how far, and then take the knee slowly back, belly tight. You decide how far back. We want our back to stay as still as we can as we go forward and back, like climbing a huge staircase. And as I said, we're working the front of the hip flexor. We're working the back of the hip, the seat muscle. But we're also working the side of the hip. That's where the flames are coming in right now. It's pretty strong. We won't be able to do too many of these. All right, well done. Now, rest the knees on the knees, ankles on the ankles. Pull the belly firm and tight. Keep your pelvis completely still. Rotate both your hips. The feet come up. We twirl our toes one way. Twirl them the other way. Relax the legs down. So both hips rotating. The upper hip is rotating in and the lower hip is rotating out. That's what gives us that tug-of-war effect in the back of the pelvis. So it's an interesting action that we can create here on our side. There's not much in life we do that makes us create this action. Good job. Okay, now edges of the feet together, belly firm and tight. Here comes our clamshell. We're going to lift the upper knee away from the lower knee and let it come back down. But I'm watching out for the pelvis. I don't want my pelvis to pull backward. I keep it where my knee lifts only as high as I can without the pelvis moving back. And this is really important to activate these hip muscles to create this particular effect. Well done. Okay, now the knees touch together, the belly's firm and tight. Let's rotate just the upper hip. We're going to twirl the toes one way, twirl the toes the other way, and let the leg relax down. So there's that inward hip rotation. And we're all a little different in how much rotation we have, but we don't have to compare ourselves to each other. We just create our comfortable action. By the way, if you've noticed, you're probably in control of one of those ankles a little better than the other. So we're not only right or left-handed, we're right or left-footed. All right, good. Let's take the leg forward. Let it come down. Let it stretch. Comfortable stretch. Lower leg's our target. It's free to move now. We rotate it and we twirl our toes one way. Twirl our toes the other way. Let the leg come down. So now we're turning that hip out. Muscles deep inside our pelvis. Often we're very strong in these muscles. One of the ways the body prefers to turn the hip. But if we've had an injury to this area, to the pelvis, we might not be so strong. Good. Okay. Now please straighten that bottom leg. You want to straighten it so that the knee is completely straight. The inner thigh is turned up. And keeping the leg straight, you're going to lift that leg slowly up, or at least that's the work you try and do. You let it come down. Not everybody can lift the leg completely. The stronger we get, the more flexible we'll get, the more we'll be able to lift. And that strong inner thigh is going to give a lot of support to the low back. And as we lift the leg higher, we're going to stretch the outer band, the fibrous band known as the IT band, that goes down and has an effect on the knee. So we're doing a lot of good work for both the low back, the hip, and the knee area. Oh, and that is so well done. Excellent. Okay, we're done with our hip tonic, and now we're going to come onto our back. So please, if you'll roll onto your back, place your feet on the floor, feet about hip distance wide. You can have your pillow behind you or let your head rest all the way flat if you prefer, whatever's the most comfortable for you. Now, from this position, let's go ahead and we'll create some other stretches. We're going to bring our right knee in toward our chest. We're going to pull it in comfortably close, letting the back flatten, being comfortable, breathing deeply. So a comfortable position. And then we let that leg come down. And the other side, we're going to bring that knee in, hold it in comfortably close, breathing deeply, letting that back stretch, and we'll let the leg come down. First side again, we pull the knee in, comfortably close, and then we're going to stretch that left leg out. We're going to reach the left leg away. We're going to try and bring the back of the left knee as close to the floor as we comfortably can. That's going to help us open up the front of the hip as we stretch that leg, breathing deeply. That's good. We put our right foot down. We're going to bring our left knee into the chest. We're going to pull it in comfortably close. And we're going to straighten that right leg, stretch it out, try and reach the ankle away, bring the back of the right knee comfortably close to the floor, breathing deeply, comfortable stretch in the front of the thigh. And that's good. We place the left foot down. We're going to bring the right knee back into the chest, pull it in comfortably close, and we're going to cross the right ankle over the knee. We take the arms out to the side, we push down the shoulders, and we stretch that right knee away from our body. Now you want to make sure the pelvis remains level. We don't get the left or the right side closer, one side versus the other. We're breathing deeply. And we should feel that stretch in our hip. And then we pull the right knee in toward the chest. We put the foot down. We're going to bring the left knee in, pull it in close to the chest, letting the back flat. We're going to cross the left ankle over the right knee. Take the arms out to the side. Slowly move that left knee away from our chest into our stretch. We feel the stretch in the hip region. Comfortable. We make sure the pelvis doesn't tilt. The sides of the waist are equally long. Comfortably stretching, breathing deeply. And that's good. We bring the knee back toward our chest and we place the feet down. Now have the feet a little wider than your hips. Arms out to the side. You can walk the shoulders away from the head to release the neck even more. And then begin to tilt the knees very slowly, tilting them toward the left, causing the right side of the pelvis to lift slightly. Now, your legs don't have to tilt. They can come down as far as you want, or they can be upright wherever you want them to be, just a comfortable tilt. And then we take the legs up and we tilt them toward the right, and when we do, the left side of the pelvis will lift slightly. Again, you can let the knees come down or you can keep them up. Stay in your comfort zone as you're tilting back and forth slowly. This is designed to create a very mild twist in the spine and to help open up the front of the hip. But if it doesn't feel comfortable, of course, I want you to do only the things that are comfortable for you. And so we go slowly back and forth, back and forth. Good. This brings us to the point where we're going to go into a relaxation. Now you may be already in your most comfortably relaxed position with your knees bent, or you may want to stretch your legs out straight. Some people prefer not to be on their back. They want to roll onto the side, and that's fine if you want to be on your side for your relaxation. Some people are not comfortable until they roll onto their stomach, and that would be fine too if you want to be on your stomach. So let you choose your comfortable position now, and we'll start our relaxation. As we begin the relaxation, you found that comfortable position to rest in, be it on your back, on your side, on your stomach, with your pillows. You're comfortable. On the screen, there's just going to be some very relaxing images playing, so you don't have to watch the screen. Just listen to my voice. The good news is, if you fall asleep in relaxation, you're doing advanced relaxation. And if you don't fall asleep in relaxation, well, good news, you're doing relaxation. It's all good. So you found that comfortable position that has taken the stress off of your joints and off of your muscles. Let your eyes close, and the moment you do, your brain waves begin to relax. You start to enter that first stage of relaxation and meditation. Let your breathing be deep. Inhale and expand your abdomen like an inflating balloon. Normally we breathe just into our upper back, into our collarbones. You want to breathe deep. Take that breath into the belly. Expand the abdomen, the sides of the chest, all the way to the shoulder blades, and then into the collarbone area. And then as you exhale, do so very slowly. When we breathe deeply, especially deep breath into our belly, we create a signal into our brain telling it that we want to relax. And the brain gives us a signal back into the body, telling the body to relax. So deep breath helps us relax. Eyes closed helps us relax. And this comfortable resting position helps our body relax the joints and the muscles. Already we're doing 3 things that help us relax more. But we're going to go further into our relaxation by focusing our mind. Now normally we're aware of our senses only lightly. Our senses, what we hear, feel, see, taste, and smell. We're usually too busy thinking about the future or remembering the past, anticipating what's going to happen or remembering what has happened, to pay much attention to what is happening right now. So we filter our senses. We pay attention to only a small portion of what our senses actually bring to us. And right now, we're going to listen a little differently. We're going to hear what we've been really hearing. And I know you hear the sound of my voice, but I am not the only sound. You can hear the sound of the air conditioner flowing through the vents. And you can also hear the tick of the clock on the wall. And there's a sound of breathing and movement in the room. But outside the room, you're going to hear other sounds. Maybe the voices of other people or the radio playing. People will walk up and down the halls. They'll open and close doors. Someone might go into the restroom and run the water. If it gets quiet enough, you'll even hear the sounds of the traffic on the street outside. It doesn't matter what the sound is. They're all layered together. Some sounds are almost constant, like that hum of the air conditioning. Some sounds are rhythmic, like the tick of the clock. But most sounds are random. We don't know when they're going to happen. They're all layered together. And our job right now is to listen to them equally, like we're dividing a pie into equal pieces, each sound given exactly the same amount of attention. And we'll do this with what we hear, and we'll notice we hear more because we're doing it. But we'll add it all together. And here's the thing, the sounds change. At the beginning of our inhale, the sounds will be different than they are at the beginning of the exhale. But we'll listen to them equally. And as we continue to listen, we're also going to do this with what we feel. When we're in discomfort, that pain, that discomfort is brought to the front of our mind. We're trying to get away from it. But the thing about chronic discomfort is that we can't get away from it. And so it constantly being brought to our attention just makes it seem bigger than it is. Makes it where we can't feel anything else. Right now, as you're resting, you can feel the way your head is resting. And you can compare that to your feet. Notice also your shoulders and your hips, your arms, your legs, and your chest. Your body, all of your body weight is resting on the mat right now, but it's at different weights, different places. Some places touch heavy. Other places touch lightly. And still other places gap away. They don't touch at all. But there you are. Head, feet, shoulders, hips, arms, legs, and chest. And when I said mat, well, I meant the mat, but also the pillow or whatever else you're touching. They have different sensations. And you can feel the temperature of the room on your bare skin and the air currents that blow across you. You can also feel your clothes. They hold in your body heat, but they're also binding tight around the waist areas. And you can feel the fabric as it encases you across your shoulders and your collarbones, around your upper chest, down your arms, around your waist, down your legs, on your feet. And we wear more than just fabric. We might be wearing a ring or a watch or a bracelet. We may have on a necklace or earrings. We may wear glasses. There might be something on our head or binding back our hair. And all of these sensations are gradually changing because we're breathing. And when we inhale, we're drawing in the coolness through our nose. And that cool breath is traveling from our nose. It's swirling into the back of our throat. And as we draw the breath in, around the collarbone level, it starts to go into our lungs. And we pull that breath slowly in, and our lungs begin to expand. We breathe into the belly, the abdomen expands, our ribs expand, our clothes tighten up when we take a full deep breath, and then we exhale that breath slowly away. Between what we're hearing and what we're feeling and how we're breathing, we're paying attention to dozens upon dozens of different things, all different at the beginning of the inhale than they are at the beginning of the exhale. And this is when we relax completely. Our heart rate slows down, our blood pressure lowers, our muscles become soothed and relaxed. Even our brain waves begin to slow down, becoming smooth and rhythmic as they do when we sleep and we dream. This enhances our mind's ability to store information. We'll remember things better because we've relaxed. We'll be more clear-headed, refreshed in body and mind since we've done our relaxation. Continue to breathe deeply and stay in your relaxed position comfortably as long as you would like. When you're ready to, you'll come out of your relaxation by stretching and rolling to your side before you sit. Remember, a little bit of exercise, a little bit of relaxation every day. I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Rest well.